is in a strong downtrend and the bears are clearly in control. The most recent bearish BOS is located right here. At the origin of the move that created this BOS, we can see an unmitigated supply zone. So I'm going to highlight this up-close candle as my supply area. This gives us a fresh, clean supply zone. And this is exactly where we want to keep our eyes because it's an ideal area to look for short opportunities if price pulls back into it. The next step is simply to switch into our main time frame, which in this case is the 15-minute chart, to get a clearer view of the price action and wait for the price to tap into this 4-hour unmitigated supply. Now let's unfold the chart and see what happens next. On the 15-minute chart, you can see that after tapping into the higher time frame supply, price reversed and formed a clear VSR, a classic V-shaped recovery pattern. If you mark out the bullish BOS levels, you'll notice that the price created several successive demand zones on its way into the 4-hour supply area. Also, after tapping the higher time frame supply, price retraced downward and, after a small reaction, flipped the most recent demand by breaking and closing below it. At this point, price is expected to realign with the higher time frame direction, which is bearish. So now we have a valid flip zone on the 15-minute chart represented by this up-close candle. With these confirmations in place, we can expect the price to return to the flip zone before continuing its move toward the sell-side liquidity. Next, we need to wait for the price to return to the flip zone, then zoom into our entry time frame, the 1-minute chart, so we can identify a precise entry for a short position. On the 1-minute time frame, you can see that the price pushed upward, and after tapping the flip zone, reversed sharply and formed both a market structure shift and a VSR. At the same time, it created a breaker block, represented by these 3 down-close candles. Notice the sequence here? Price first formed a swing high, then a swing low, followed by a higher high, but immediately after, it reversed direction and closed below those down-close candles. This confirms the breaker block and gives us another strong confluence for a short entry. With these confirmations in place, we can expect the price to pull back to the breaker block before continuing downward towards sell-side liquidity. Next, I'm placing my entry at the lowest point of the breaker block, with my stop loss just a couple of pips above the higher high. For take profit, I'm targeting the sell-side liquidity below this swing low. Now let's see if the trade plays out successfully. As you can see, price pushed higher, triggered the sell limit order, then dropped lower and eventually hit the take profit. Now let's move on to the next real chart example. Here we have the Pound Yen 1-hour chart on the screen. As you can see, price was in a strong uptrend, until everything changed when price broke and closed below the lowest point of the most recent bullish BOS, forming a clear bearish change of character. From that moment on, the price continued pushing downward. So from here, our bias shifts, and we're now focused on looking for short opportunities. If you look closely, you'll notice an unmitigated 1-hour supply area sitting right above the current price, a perfect zone to look for selling opportunities if the price retraces back into it. The next step is simply to wait for the price to tap into this 1-hour unmitigated supply. Now let's play out the chart and see what happens next. As you can see, price pushed higher and tapped directly into the higher time frame supply zone. Now everything looks perfect, so I'm going to zoom into the 5-minute time frame for a clearer view of the price action. And here on the 5-minute chart, you can see that after tapping into the higher time frame supply area, price reversed and, after reacting to the most recent 5-minute demand area, immediately flipped it with inefficiency. I'm going to highlight these up-close candles as my bearish flip zone. This gives us a fresh, clean supply area. Next, we zoom into our entry time frame, the 1-minute chart, and wait for the price to return to the flip zone. Now on the 1-minute chart, you can see the price pushed upward, and after tapping the 5-minute flip zone, reversed and formed a clear market structure shift and a mitigation block, represented by these 3 up-close candles. Notice the sequence. We have a swing high, then a swing low, followed by a lower high, and immediately after, a reversal that closes below the swing low. With this behavior, we can anticipate that the price will return to the mitigation block zone before continuing its move toward the sell-side liquidity. Next, I'm setting my entry at the lowest point of the mitigation block, with my stop loss just a couple of pips above the upper swing high. For take profit, I'm targeting the sell-side liquidity below this swing low. Now let's play out the trade and see how it unfolds. As you can see, the order was triggered. After a brief drawdown, the price reversed, pushed lower, and eventually hit the take profit, exactly as expected. That's it.